to the trash or to the tax assessments going forward. So there'll be that to up to like $260.
When does that go into effect?
April.
Yeah, well, we technically only went into an agreement right now with the appraiser and the tax collector's office, but it won't be long before it goes on next year's bill.
So what would that look like? How would that translate
So
to?
instead of you getting to pick who you want for trash service,
Right.
it turns into you have to use this one company, and it's a lump sum payment. You have to pay it, as opposed to doing a monthly payment
Or the
or
quarterly
turning it
like
off
I'm
if
doing.
you're a snowbird.
Right.
Leave. But the people that are still in North Carolina right now that left here because of the hurricanes, they're not paying trash right now because they're not using it. But now they'll have to pay no matter
Gotcha.
what. So
And if that's attached to an address, okay, the house is sold, and the person still got to pay that for the end of the month. So that's kind of sort of like double dipping.
it's pretty dipping too. You're licking the barbecue sauce before you even got the chicken wings.
Yeah,
That's
there
why
you go.
the next person's gonna have to pay, and they haven't even gotten their. They pay ahead of time now.
Oh wow.
Right. See, and even when you go to settlement, they'll ante up on the insurance. Oh, it's paid through such and such. Or the sellers can say, like in my case, oh, let them go ahead and have it throughout the year. So then, you still have to get insurance, but it doesn't have to start until, let's say, January. Here, they're not even doing that.
They're not.
Getting
Nope. There's no re-upping at the end. It's you get what you get.
The thing about it is, if they have those annual people, whoever the company is, I'm sure it's friends with the higher ups. They can go through your trash. They can do a whole lot of
do
other
code
stuff.
enforcement stuff.
They can do all kinds of stuff.
And that's the other thing is like we have 5 really good trash companies all right here, and if a resident wants to go with a specific company, that's their choice.
Right.
I like JD Parker, and that happened to be who we're going through as the single waste hauler. But the thing is that for someone who doesn't like JD Parker or wants to pay more for a service they think is better, that's your right. As long as your trash gets picked up, what is it the government's business? Who's picking it up?
Right.
Businesses, I think they want to be able to filter and do whatever to people, but we used the people who were across the street when we first moved in.
Okay.
So that was waste management. That was the green truck. All I know is that we pay a quarter. And,
Me too.
But if we have to change it, I mean that's fine because they've been good picking up that. And we're not doing drugs or cutting up bodies, so they can have our trash. I mean maybe a few chicken bones, but
Right.
but yeah.
With no barbecue sign because we had a pre-did.
Right.
That's the problem.
Times are just what comes with the business. But what we're going to do is we're going to allow you all to have a 1-minute opening once we start. And then after that, we'll ask a series of questions that came from people in the community here, residents, voters. And then after that, we will give you guys a 1-minute closing. And we do want to thank you for being here, showing up and participating. I was very excited when I found out that all of you agreed to come. So let's give them a round of applause. They showed up. All right, I'm here with Faith in Florida here in Pasco County. Faith in Florida, we're nonpartisan. We don't endorse candidates. We simply just educate and we do what we can to help build the beloved community here in Pasco County. And what we do is we like to organize these candidate forums so you guys can hear directly from the candidates and you get to have a dialogue with them because we do believe it's important and we do believe in order to have any type of change, we got to show up and we have to participate, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and also introduce our moderator for this event. And I'd like to thank everybody on our committee that helped with the planning and just logistics and everything like that. We'd like to thank Pastor Snow of the church here for opening up the doors for us to have this forum. And we are going to have many more. This won't be the last candidates race. So continue to look and see what Faith in Florida has going on in the state of Florida and in Pasco County. We encourage you all to volunteer, get involved, okay? We have to be involved. We have to be involved. I do like to introduce our wonderful moderator who is just so talented. She has just so many accolades, I can't even sit here and name them. But I'd like to introduce my co-moderator, April Michelle Hall. And April, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. As he said, dabble in a lot of different things. I believe that it's important to give people a voice, to give people options, and to bring information to them. And one thing that Barlow is heavily in is also teaching, informing, equipping, and empowering. So I stand with him with that, and I appreciate you for the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to thank our timekeeper, Ms. Candace. Go ahead, Candace. All right, Candace is going to be keeping our time and making sure that we all get out of here at an efficient time, because tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day, right? We don't want to keep nobody here. It's St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. And so thank you, and thank you, Ms. Celeste, who's handled our sign-in sheet. If anybody has not signed in, please see Celeste. We ask you to sign in just so we can keep you up to date and let you guys know when we're doing these candidate forums or doing different things in Newport Richey. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to the candidate.
For aligning our paths to be here in this moment. We pray, Lord God, that you will have your way, that you will help us to speak from our hearts and to show what we want to bring to this area and the change we desire to make and the people we desire to impact. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Comment how uneducated our community is about what city council does, and if there was a larger awareness, there probably would be a lot more forums to hear what is going on and better serve the underserved and the people out of the general public. So I'm on the bandwagon for getting the word out about what city council does for this community, so that we can shout it from the rooftops.
I would definitely like to see more involvement from the city with connecting to the residents. And I'm not sure the forum that we would do it, but some sort of a quasi town hall meeting where we could get community members together in a forum like this, and we can discuss, problems, issues, pretty much anything that's out there. And I would hope that, if I'm elected, that I can get that accomplished.
It just has to be mentioned that our young people, those that have no choice in their lot in life or how they came to live here, is reflected by the Title I school of Richey Elementary and the comments of our new superintendent of schools, who says that school is in trouble. So, to that regard, I would focus on education. I think that was brought up, and I think that the research was done to show that other than arcade games and bouncy houses, there's really nothing after school for our youth that can help them. African American Club has a great program, and you do things, churches do things. So I'm not saying there's nothing, but from a public standpoint, I would love to see the hands-on science museum and some of the benefits that could be had by the Schweffer School once again as being a place for the whole community to come together and after school as well as lifetime learning. Making everyone feel they're part of our city is one way to make sure that people don't feel underserved. With our river, allowing folks access to that river will make them feel a little bit of the wealth and good fortune that those of us who do live on the river experience every day.
Thank you.
You do have two opportunities for that, but I think sometimes not everybody is always available for those meetings. So I think, not in every instance, but on bigger issues, I think we need to give them another opportunity to have a formal discussion. So to make people who potentially work evenings, what have you, that can't make it, we need to maybe make it a little bit easier for them to get to them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, one thing I believe in is meetings now occur at 6 o'clock. They used to be at 7:30, and then they were at 7. And we need to give some consideration, I believe, to making the meetings at 7 and where people have time to get off work and then come to the meeting. I additionally think, again, we need to do more public outreach, including canvassing certain areas to where we talk to people, either by
responses of the city council. I think when nobody responds and people ask questions, we don't answer the question directly under the 3 minutes, but I have asked for, and I would like to see us have our agenda in a way that we could provide responses. And I think it's important that those responses don't turn into discussions about back and forth and questions, because that lengthens the meeting. But it's important that folks, nobody knows that you care unless they know that you care. And so we have to show that we care. But there's another even more major answer to your question, which is that the city council are the policymakers. And that what I hear from a lot of people is that they feel like those decisions are made before they get to the city council. Now, our city manager is in charge of the daily operations of the city, and we have to stay out of her business, and that's oftentimes a problem for management to deal with elected saying, I need you to do this or that, so we can't do that. On the other hand, we also are the policymakers, and there have been too many occasions where I've seen actions coming before me that I didn't even know were coming before me. So I think if we as elected officials are aware of the policies that are coming in front of us to make decisions, then that leads to suspicion that these policies are being generated behind quietly or by virtue of discussions with us individually. It's important to me that the city council sets the agenda and the city council approves a budget that it has full awareness of and in a timely manner. The city's been running behind in a lot of things, and there may be excuses for it, but we can't have our capital improvement plan at the last meeting, at the last end of the summer budget season. We have to be involved in setting those priorities and those policies.
Thank you. What do you think are the top 2 issues residents should be concerned about in the city? And what will you do if elected to address it?
Property values have blown up incredibly because of the popularity of our city. We've lowered the tax rate slightly, but every year we owe more in property taxes. And so it is important to recognize that the tax rate and the decisions we make in the use of those taxes, that we are sensitive to those concerns. We have a lot of economic uncertainty right now, nationally, locally, and for those damaged by their situations. That's number 1. I think number 2, and part of taxes is this trash tax that's being suggested to go onto the property tax bill. It doesn't make a lot of sense, and can easily be done on the water bills, and I think that we've exposed some problems in the city that need to be fixed, not moved around in order to ensure that our residents pay for 12 months of service whether they need it or not.
I'm going to kind of add on to that a little bit. I believe that it is a good thing putting it on the utility bill or not doing it at all. As a longtime resident, 50 years in my neighborhood, I can tell everybody that I had no problem at all before the city intervened and did the bill. And I paid Parker directly. I had no problems. There are no additional trucks on my streets, so I don't have a problem. The other thing I think that I hear from people a lot is their concerns about neighborhood speeding. And I propose that we look at a variety of different traffic calming methodologies to where we slow cars down and slow them down in the neighborhoods, not on the, I guess, residential collector roads, but I'd like to slow cars down. I'd like to do it in circles or tree plantings or anything else that is known to slow traffic down.
So, one of my things that I've been concerned about, part of the reason why I decided to run for city council, is our city has been growing tremendously. And I think it's been a great thing. But I'm just a little nervous about our infrastructure. And I've had some conversations with some people about our wastewater treatment plant. You know, we are bringing a lot more residents in here, a lot more businesses. We have an influx of people every weekend. So we need to be concerned that we don't outgrow our city to the point where we put ourselves in a problem where we have empty businesses because we just can't support it any longer. And then secondly, back to my other statement from earlier, is we need to definitely work on our parking situation in the downtown area. We need the parking garage is a great idea. Just for whatever reason, people don't like to use it a lot. So being it's there, we need to create more of an understanding of the trolley system and using it, and create more people who want to use it. So this way we can, get more people into the city and make it happen. Thank you.
Elected, what will you do to ensure that city funds are going towards projects that serve the residents' best interests? I'll read it again. If elected, what will you do to ensure that the city funds are going towards projects that serve the residents' best interests?
So I sound like a broken record, but local government / politics is new to me. It's brand new on my radar. But what I can tell you is I come from a career where I worked for the same company for 38 years. What I vowed to do is take that dedication and apply it towards getting to know this city and understanding all the inner workings and everything necessary to make the right decisions to keep our city moving forward at the momentum. Maybe not at the momentum we're going right now, maybe we need to slow down a little bit, not sure, but certainly making the best decisions for our city and for our residents. And that is my commitment.
This is where some experience comes in. Over my time with the city, which was 36 years as an employee, I worked on building infrastructure, expanding our water and wastewater treatment plants, of which we do have more than adequate capacity at this time. The other thing is that I think, once again, we need to be in touch with residents. We need to hear from them, and we need to hear what they want and what they don't want. And I know, as a part of what we're talking about, experience is vital, because I learned in my time, I made plenty of mistakes, and I learned from them, and I also was able to do a lot of things right that help serve the people even today. So I'd like to see that continue and do what's needed to be done.
It's wordy, so I'll try to articulate it properly. Recent changes with the federal government, including shifts in funding for programs like USAID, have raised concerns about their potential impact on food assistance and education. How do you anticipate these funding changes will affect Florida schools, food banks, and school meal programs? And if elected, what steps would you take to ensure that our communities, particularly vulnerable students and families, do not face food insecurity or setbacks in educational resources? And let me know if I need to read it again.
I'll give it a shot. Our Tasty Tuesdays program and the number of gardens that we have in our city, that shows that a lot of our city residents are just extremely excited about that. I think that we should include and expand on the city being one of the 2 cities in Florida that has approved the Milan Pact, which talks about food security locally. So we have no control over what happens in Washington, and certainly we can only try to defend ourselves from the things that are happening in Tallahassee. But what we do have is real earth and the chance to teach folks how to plant a garden, and they'll teach them to fish, and then they'll eat. So our city is well ahead of many others in that regard, and I think the expansion of our agriculture and the protection of our river and the potential for aquaculture and teaching our young folks the importance of the environment are the only things really we can do. But I think those are pretty big things.
Many of you know I'm part of our city environmental committee with former council member Del DeChan. And we talk a lot about the recommendations of the committee and the help that we need to provide in growing things within the city itself, urban farming, if you will. will. It all is heavily involved in FarmNet, and he's been a considerable influence in that, and I'm all for it, certainly.
The topic was, the question was asked, is sure how much control we have about the school and the school district per se, but I think we have a perfect opportunity with the rec center that services, not only the community, but the children and the children camps that happen over the summer. And I know there's insecurities about the children who are reliant on the meal programs during the school year, and when that goes away, where is that coming from? It certainly creates an opportunity for city council to think in those terms and maybe figure out a plan to make things work.
To what everybody put out there. I'm not familiar with all the programs that the city is currently involved in, but what I would want to make sure, if there are funds available, that we as the council make sure we secure those funds so these kids have food. My mom being a teacher in Pasco County for 40 years, working at Title I schools, I know firsthand that most of those kids, their only meal of the day was lunch at school. And that's all they had. So I would definitely want to make sure that we take care of these kids, because if they have no food at home, that's all they have when they get to school. Thank you.
Thank you. And I can echo by saying there are a lot of people who are afraid of what's going to happen next because they're aware of the situation in Pasco County. Next, we're going to open up the floor.
I think it's a wonderful idea about town hall meetings. Back in my day, we had town hall meetings.
It's on.
Not to frighten anybody, but they were frightening at times because they were about volatile issues. But the community did show up in a big way. And I think now with what's going on in the country, this is an excellent idea, because it's really hard to stand up at council and in 3 minutes explain what's wrong. And I know that everybody's felt that frustration. So I think perhaps a quarterly town hall.
So is there a question here?
Well, I want to see if they agree. They think that's a good idea. I mean, I think with what's going on in this country, we all need to get together and talk. We're neighbors. We don't all have the same, we don't agree on everything, but we can certainly direct and help run the city and give the city more ideas, where when you're doing it in a 3-minute format, it's just not necessarily there, and then you feel like you're being ignored because the council can't talk back to you. So I just want to know how you feel about that, and if there's a possibility that you would agree to do those. Thank you.
So since I brought up the issue, I guess I should answer it first. I want to make it so the city council is more approachable to the resident. Because I feel kind of right now, it's like they're sitting up here and we're down there, and you get your 3 minutes and that's all you got. I want to make people feel more comfortable, because some people are afraid to come to a council meeting. They don't want to get in front of a microphone. They don't want to talk. So I want people to feel like you can come talk to me. During my campaign right now, I have people just randomly come up to me and ask me questions. I'm driving down the street, they flag me down, they call me. I want to be that person that you can ask a question. Am I going to have the right answer every time? No. But if I don't have the answer, I'm going to get it for you. Thanks.
I would like to be heard, because I feel that concern as well.
I'd like to make it more informal. So, where we're all sitting on the same platform. We don't need to be up here and you down there. So just keep it even. I don't think we need to have, a microphone situation. I think it should just be conversation. I mean, obviously, we would need to reform this and put some rules in line to keep people under control. I mean, I've been to some of the city council meetings and seen things that happen, so we need to be conscious of that. But I think if we get people involved, I think people will feel better, because I get a lot of people who tell me, I don't feel like my voice is being heard, or I'm talking about a problem, but I'm not getting an answer to it. So that's what I'd like to try to do. Thanks.
To think about life has changed, and maybe now is the time for change and disruption. I like the idea of a town hall. I as well have sat in some of the city council meetings, and frankly, they can be a little intimidating. And if we could create some type of forum, whether we call it a town hall or we give it a new name, and give the people within our community, the residents, a chance to approach us in an informal way, and then how we take that information back and discuss among ourselves as city council members. You know, it's food for thought, and I'm up for change.
I do remember the town hall meetings. In fact, I think I went to every single one of them. So at that particular point in time, we had a number of work sessions as well. And the council sat down on the floor at the tables. They were arranged so where the council could sit around. And maybe that's a format for the town hall meetings. We also had them off-site. We have the rec center. And that's another excellent place to have any kind of a town hall meeting where people can come, they can wear their shorts, they can wear a t-shirt if they need to, and feel comfortable talking to the city council. So I'm all about public input. I want to see it happen.
Many years I've been involved, I can only say that we are the elected officials who are set up to make the decisions for the city. And it is extremely important for the public to feel comfortable, and they can feel comfortable to speak to us on the campaign trail, in the grocery store, all of us as individuals. We are, however, restricted by the Sunshine Law from being able to work together, which we want to see happen in our city. And so until, and if there was one thing I would change, and I have to even watch it for myself as I am here today talking to folks who are going to vote for us and pick us. But when we're city council members, all too often the discussion is straight ahead to the audience and not to each other. The only time that we ever will get, whichever two of us make it onto this council, is when we're there officially in a meeting, or even at the town hall, which is great where we can get input. But I'm going to try to commit to be more conversational with my colleagues on the city council, to talk to you and to know and have confidence that we are the policymakers and that we all have equal access to the information and that we set the agenda. And again, I think a lot of the discomfort in our city is that they don't believe that that's going on, that they believe that this is happening behind the scenes. So it's not just about the town halls, it's also about people watching us and believing that we are representing them. And so there's a good onus on us to make sure that we take that professional charge. And I'm confident, I'm very excited that I'm sitting with all of you and hearing what I'm hearing today. Because if I don't get in, I'm still relying on two of you to try to follow this discussion, because we all seem to be relatively like-minded in our concern and care for the city. So thank you.
Thank you all for your wisdom and your response. We have so many car washes popping up all over the place. And what can be done about that?
Car washes come in whenever the zoning is there. It's an administrative function, and what can be done? Changing our land use and zoning, and that's a possibility, but storage units are another one.
And our final question. First of all, I know these two guys.
Are you using the microphone?
Tom O'Neill, how many years have you known me?
Is this on?
Okay. Try about 50. And how many years have you known me
Well,
here?
you've known me longer than I've known you.
You were young, you know, and I knew your father before you. But the question I have is, how many years have you known me, or both of you, that I have done without hot water in my house? I know. How many years?
I can't remember when you told me, but I was shocked that you told me how many years you had been without, and I did not know it until that point. I didn't make note of that day. I'm thinking it's been the last 2 years. So.
No, try since 2017. How old am I going to be my next birthday?
I'm not going to guess.
Get in trouble that
How
way.
many? Okay. No, these two over here, which I don't don't know need to hear this. How old am I gonna be my next birthday?
Can you vote? Can you vote?
I will be 80. I
Yeah,
will
no,
be
but you have
80
to
years
do
old,
something.
and I have done without hot water, heat, or air since 2017. How many grants have I applied for that went nowhere? And everyone knows, including the state of Florida, that when I put in a CDBG grant, that is a Community Development Block Grant, in 23, all of my financial information, all my 6 months of banking information, all of my IRS information was stolen out of the lockbox in the city hall.
So,
This
final question,
time.
is there a final question?
The question is, what are we gonna do about it? It's not only me. Here's the horror part of this. Everybody will know, I'm the only one that all my financial information was stolen, and the state of Florida moved in and tightened up our lockbox because it was open with a key in a room that didn't have a lock on it and didn't have security cameras. And the state of Florida moved in because they did believe what happened. And now the lockbox is secure. But I shouldn't have had to, I've been hacked into since then. What are the two of you gonna teach these two has to be done here? Because I'm not the only one.
Thank you so much for sharing your concern. If anyone would like to grab a response to one of her questions, if not, I understand.
The question is, what are you gonna do about what's going on in there?
And you get elected.
No, tell us all now, because this should never have happened to an 80-year-old woman.
Okay, I have some. I work on water meters to just overhaul my daughters. If you would like, I will help you with that. And
How many grants did I put in so
Well,
it could be?
we're going to go ahead and move on to the next question, and I want to appreciate you for your vulnerability and openness, and I thank you all for your response. Our final question here.
As well as the audience, I really want to very quickly address the community outreach because I believe Ms. Allen has actually indicated me that the city manager got rid of the outreach of the input committee that used to be there, so I'll throw that out there. But the question I have is, which business or project in the last few years is the brightest star that best reflects the new Port Richey that you want to see?
Repeat it one more time, a little slower.
Which business or project from the last few years is the brightest star that best reflects the new Port Richey that you want to see?
is Bright's Natural Grocery Store, organic grocery store, and also the Artisan Shop, which are both retail businesses and exactly what we want to see, in my opinion, in downtown.
When you say project, there's a million projects, but they don't get completed. So the project that I'm most excited for is the opportunity we have to take possession of the 10 acres on the river in the old high school, the old Gulf High School. It has incentivized our older community of alumni. It has excited our theater, all of our arts and sciences folks, the opportunity we have. That project has really not only once been verbalized by our consultant who no longer was there and part of the CRA plans. But that's one of the most exciting. The second one is at the corner of Main and 19 where we could purchase the old church and the old Suntrust building. And that project has nearly $1 million worth of state resiliency money to allow us to deal with these heavy rains, which we have talked our way into, so we might as well just stay here a little longer now.
You have 5 seconds, just kidding.
In the last few weeks to get a better understanding about the Shrubman Gulf High property, and it does seem really exciting, a very well thought out plan. And what excites me about that plan is it pushes the downtown barriers out further so that we're getting more traction up and down Grand Street. Now, while the residents might not like that, we could have a whole nother area of the downtown, and I think it's right now being affectionately called the Marine District. And wouldn't it be great for us to be able to talk about the new area called the Marine District, or let's meet at the Marine District? So that's what I would say.
Schwetter projects, I do like that. But there is a project that's been lingering, and it's been on my radar from the beginning, is the Railroad Square project. And, you know, I know quite a few business owners that are in there, and they're getting very frustrated. And if I am elected, that is going to be one of my main priorities, is to see that project through with community input. Thank you.
We're now at a point where there's money that's coming into our county, and our city has a great opportunity based on our demographics to take advantage of that. We need to be all hands on deck, and that means new ideas are welcome and need to jump in. And the problem I've had with my current city council is that I bring these things up, but I don't get any response until it's filtered back through the administration. This kind of thing, including a service area for our recreation area that would eliminate the cost of any of our residents of going to the rec center, which would be the same $5 charge everyone else in the county pays for recreation services. It's just waiting there for us to take advantage of. And I need another member to work with to really create a majority of our city council that is willing to have these discussions without worrying about whether or not maybe our idea makes it or doesn't. Because the only way we can figure things out is to talk them out together, and the public wants to see us do that publicly. So I'm going to make a commitment to turn to my colleagues and say, we are in charge, not me, not management. We're in charge, and we expect management to be able to deliver on Railroad Square and on these other projects. And that's it.
Thank you.
Know all of the members of the Railroad Square community. I know all the business owners by first name. And I'm very encouraged by what's happened. However, I intend to widen our focus to include neighborhoods, include the rest of the residents. That's been one of the premier things with regard to my campaign. I want to listen, I want to hear from the residents, and I hope to be there, and you have my support.
Thank you.
It's truly an honor to serve our public. What I can say about myself is the dedication that I gave to my first career, which was working for a large fintech company. I'm ready to parlay that into the second chapter of my life, where I don't have a job to impede me. I feel like I can go all in and really dedicate myself towards this next chapter in my life. And my slogan has been a fresh new perspective. So thank you.
Thank you.
So in closing, I would like to say that, you know, the three other candidates here, I'd love to work with one of them. I think it would be an awesome opportunity. I mean, I currently work on the Chatsworth Fest Committee with Peter, and we don't always agree, but we can always come to an understanding. But I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet. You know, I decided to do this because I want to give back to the community that I was raised in. You know, I have no formal training as a politician, nor do I act like a politician, but I am A-B. You know, it's going to be this way. We're not going to differentiate, and we're going to get things done in the city, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. Vote April 8th.
Thank you.